Good morning in the United States, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're joining from. My name is Ramjan. I'm your host today. I'm a medical doctor joining from Berlin. I'm also administrator of Kazakh International Science and Technology Association. Thank you very much for joining today. So before start, just to make this atmosphere a little bit warmer, and please write in the chat where you're joining. I see that we have joined more than 50 participants today from the United States, from North America, Europe, Asia, including Saudi Arabia as well. So I think it's pretty diverse community, and we have professors. We also have other partners joining today, for example, like University of Pennsylvania, that's interested in this experience of Cardiff University of Kazakhstan. So today we're continuing our Kazakhstan University Transformation series. It's a monthly program featuring presidents of leading Kazakhstan University and senior leaders of international branch campuses of top global universities in Kazakhstan. Previously, we hosted president of Nazarbayev University, University of Narhos University. This series highlight career opportunities and pathways for collaborative research projects with Kazakhstani scientists abroad. Each session provides a unique opportunity to hear first-hand insight from university leaders and about ongoing and upcoming initiatives, new academic positions, and potential areas for collaboration. So for today, we are really honored to welcome a leading UK Russell Group institution, internationally recognized for excellence in research, education, and global impact, represented by Professor Phil Stevens, Provost of Cardiff University, Kazakhstan. So with that, before starting, I'm heading a word to President of Kazakh International Science and Technology Association, Vice President of Respublikan Asia Pacific University, Sergey Birmanov. Please, floor is yours.
Okay, just a second. Okay, so hello everyone, and nice to meet you. And today we have a unique opportunity. We have a privilege to have on our platform Professor Phil Stevens. He's a provost of Cardiff University in Kazakhstan. So beyond his leadership role, Professor Stevens is a distinguished scientist also and a professor of cell biology. He is a globally recognized as a researcher. His main research area of interest is regenerative medicine, tissue engineering. I think it's also related to stem cell, probably. Yes, I think it's very, very interesting area, very, very promising. And as you know, Cardiff University, located in Cardiff City, Wales, in the western part of Great Britain. And it is one of the UK's top level institution and is a part of a Russell Group. So for our audience, maybe you have known already, but Russell Group is a prestigious association of about 24 research universities, often regarding as they're comparing it as Ivy League in the United States. And Cardiff University, Kazakhstan, has a very unique milestone. So it is the first overseas branch of a Cardiff University. It is currently the only one Russell Group campus in all Central Asia. So just 4 months ago, the Kazakhstan Cardiff University opens its door to our new students, and impact was immediate. So probably you have seen a lot of information through the social media. When, as you could see now in Professor Stevens' background, this is, I think it's Cardiff red color. It's a banner was flooded around all the social media, and it was like draws attention of everyone. And we also remember see very fascinating and inspired faces of Minister of Higher Education of Mr. Sayasat Nurbek, and also the leaders of the Cardiff University who came to the opening ceremony to the Astana. And we know that it's just the first year, only 4 months. I think the first semester just finished. So probably the first year, maybe the most challenging, yeah, to the history of any university. Uh, I think it could be a very interesting. If you, we would happy to listen from you, like interesting insights about how it would be to establish a like the whole. It's like official branch office in a like a higher education in Kazakhstan. And I think that many maybe future students also would be happy to know about the background of Cardiff University if they would think about apply to the university in future, what they expected to have. So as far as I understand, that this year is a foundation year. It is the first one, and in future, you are supposed to provide a full program. Like I think it's 4 years, including the foundation. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go into the details, so we would be happy to hear from you. So please join me to give a warm welcome to Professor Phil Stevens. And before we start, I think the Galmjan would provide a brief introduction about our association, and then we will switch to Phil Stevens.
Yeah, thank you very much again for joining today. So before we start, we already shared our agenda. I will provide short information about the association, and later we will go to the session of for the talk of Professor Stevens. So we are Kazakh International Science and Technology Association, a global professional scientific community connecting Central Asian scientists worldwide. So actually this idea of doing this, we thought, okay, it's in China, we have 1,000 talents and other countries doing this initiative to attracting their own scientists worldwide in order to connect and promote and help their own economy. So we thought about, okay, why not? Kazakhstan also have a lot of us after getting independence, a lot of scientists went abroad and already have established as a scholar in the UK, North America, wherever. And we thought it's very important to do this mission of uniting these professionals in order to have a connection bridge, establish connection bridges between Kazakhstan. So with this idea, we currently have 250 plus members. It's PhD, postdoc professors, and industry R&D experts. We started doing this from 2014, and we have members from 30 plus countries. Currently have officially partnering with Bolshak program, Minister of Science and Education, Silk Road Innovation Hub from Silicon Valley, and so on. And currently, here you can see distribution of our association members. We have, as I said, more than 30 plus countries. And we also have distribution starting from Canada, ending with New Zealand. And as you can see, we also have established a connection with scholars, more than 42 scholars, professors, associate, and full professor from different countries. So for last year, we already made several events. It's including guest of honor seminar series. It's established academics from different countries, inviting them to our platform to share the research opportunities. Other than that, we're also doing guest of honor tech talk series. It's a series where we're inviting established scientists working in R&D, in industry, research and development. And last, we had this Kazakhstan University Transformation series, where we're inviting presidents of and leaders of Kazakhstan universities to come to our platform, share the ongoing initiatives, opportunities, and share your experience. So lastly, we had Professor Wahar Ahmad from Nazarbayev University. And we also have a tight connection with Kazakhstan. So members of our association, several professors are members of National Council of Science and Technology in Accorda Palace. As well, we have a very tight connection with Minister Saysat Nurbek. It's already become a good tradition. He comes to our association every year. And one of the currently projects ongoing project, it's a partnership with Bolshak program. So we are connecting Kazakhstani professors worldwide with the local scientists in Kazakhstan to open pathway for visiting research fellowship. So one of the good news for the last year, we already made more than 20 interviews and 7 candidates has been received invitation letter in order to go University of Nottingham, Professor Sergei Topolat's lab, and University of Reading, Professor Vitaly Khutaryansky. And this is ongoing initiative. So just keep in mind, if your lab or PI lack of the hands and you need very handful people, we can make it. We can connect with Kazakhstani scholars where they already have their own funding by Bolshak program. As you can, they can come to your lab, to your PI's lab, and do a visiting research fellowship. If you're interested, please contact us. So with that, I really want to thank you for your attention, and we will proceed to our next session. So today we have Professor Phil Stevens. He's a provost of Cardiff University, Kazakhstan, also academical dean for American professor of cell biology. He's an international dean of American professor of cell biology, also research license designated individual for academic lead of Cardiff University Biobank. So I will stop share and Professor Stevens can share his screen. So before doing that, I will briefly go about, yeah, here we go. So Professor Stevens, floor is yours. Thank you very much for your time and joining today.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just checking that you can see my slides okay, full screen, and you can hear me?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'll make a start. So first of all, thank you ever so much for inviting me to give a talk today. It's a real honor, a real privilege. It sounds like, looking at some of the previous speakers, it sounds like a great seminar series. So it's a real pleasure for me to be able to speak here today. So what I'm going to do today is give you a little bit of an overview of myself. I think, well, that's more or less already been done by the previous speakers, so thank you. But I want to tell you more broadly about Cardiff University. I want to tell you about the structure of Cardiff University. I want to tell you about the research that we're doing across the university, because I hope that will be of interest to lots of you. We reach out to partners all over the world and collaborate all over the world. So the more research collaborations, the better, as far as I'm concerned. And we just heard about the Bolishak scheme, so we could draw on that, as well as funding that we have access to in the UK. And of course, then I want to talk about Cardiff University, Kazakhstan at the end. And then just the final slide will be about some reflections about the future, but what the future might look like. And hopefully that'll be a good segue then into a Q&A session. Okay, so who am I? Well, I did my BSc honours in biochemistry in Leeds, which is in the north of England. And I stayed there to do my cell biology PhD. I was interested in tissue repair, in soft tissue repair. And as my colleagues have said, I'm currently a professor of cell biology. I also lead the Cardiff University Biobank. Now, what's that, you might ask? Well, that is a biobank that supplies human tissue and human materials for research. It's really important within not just our university, but lots of universities. People want to be able to test their agents, their discoveries on human tissue. So people can access, anyone from across the world can access material from this biobank. So if that's of interest, then also reach out to me. I am one of the international deans for the university. I'm the international dean for the Americas. And I can see my colleague Omar Rana, who is another international dean for the Middle East, is on the call. So great to have you with us, Omar. And as you've said as well, I'm provost for Cardiff University, Kazakhstan. So just quickly, what do I do in my research? Well, I'm interested in wound healing, soft tissue repair. And so normally what happens if you have damage to your soft tissues, you end up with something like this, which is a scar. And all of my research has been about trying to overcome strange or difficult wound healing. So I've worked on these things on the right-hand side. These are non-healing chronic wounds. Sorry, it looks a bit gross, but these are wounds that don't heal at all. So they don't even scar, but they don't heal. So we've been working on those. But really my big interest is this on the left-hand side. So if you bite the inside of your cheek, it'll heal without a scar. So what I've worked on for the past 30 years is scarless wound repair. We've isolated the cells that are responsible for this, and these are stem cells. And we're now using those stem cells to make different types of cells, neurons, for example, different types of tissue, bone, fat, cartilage. We can also label them and track them when we put them into animal systems, because what we're trying to do is ultimately generate an anti-scarring therapy. So that's in one slide, that's what I've been doing for the past 3 decades. So welcome to Cardiff. Welcome to Wales. Croeso. So this is the UK here. This is London. I'm sure you're familiar with London, but this is Wales here, if you can see my cursor moving around. And here is Cardiff just here. So we are quite close to London. We're the closest capital city to London. We're just under 2 hours now by train with the new electrified trains. We're one of the greenest cities in the UK. So we've got lovely parks and gardens that everyone can use. So it's a really nice place to live. There's easy access to what we call our national parks, our big parks across Wales. We've got, not far away, some beautiful beaches. We've got fantastic woodland you can wander around in, and we've got many, many castles. In fact, we have more castles per square mile than any other country in Europe, believe it or not. So we were voted the best and friendliest city in the UK in 2023. I'm not sure what happened to 24 and 25. Who knows? But we're certainly a very friendly city. And there's an estimated 94 different languages that are spoken across our very multicultural city. And the reason for this is that back in the day, many years ago, South Wales and Cardiff were known for the export of coal all around the world. So people from all around the world came to Cardiff as part of the coal trade, and many stayed and then started their families and have lived here ever since. So as a result, there's many religions in Cardiff, there's many cultures in Cardiff, and what's really good is that there's lots and lots of different international cuisine. So when you come and visit us in Cardiff, there's lots and lots of different places that we can go and eat. So we're quite a small city, only about 350,000, nowhere near the size of Astana, where I am at the moment. And when our university, plus there's 2 other universities in Cardiff, when all the students are around, it makes up about 20% of the population. So it's a big student city, a really important student city. We're one of the safest regions in the UK. And also, even though we're a capital city, we're one of the UK's most affordable. So in terms of Cardiff itself, so we have roughly about 33,000 students from about 150 different countries. So we've got loads and loads of students from all over the world. We've got about 7,000 staff. Most are full-time staff, some are part-time. We often employ doctors and dentists that come in from the community and help train our students. And we've got over 200,000 active alumni across the world. So we're in the top 20 in the UK overall for research quality, and we're 11th in terms of research impact. Now, what's research impact? Well, research is great. We all want to do research. But if your research doesn't actually lead to anything, doesn't actually deliver anything, any benefits for society, for individuals, then, okay, some might question why you were doing research. But for us, we're 11th out of about 192 different universities in the UK. So that says to us that the research we're doing is not only high quality, but also very applicable. We're 181st in terms of the World QS rankings, which puts us in the top 1% of universities. And you've already heard that we're a Russell Group university. So what does that really mean? What that means is that research is at the heart of everything we do, not just for research purposes, but also in terms of our teaching. So we don't give the same lectures every year. Those lectures are flavored each year by the research that we're doing and by the research that we're learning about on a daily, monthly basis. And of course, we have a few Nobel Prize winners as well. A few other facts and figures, top 25 in terms of the overall UK ranking. In terms of research contracts, we're 110, 120 million in terms of research contracts each year. We're the 13th largest university in terms of student population, so we're a large university. We're in the top 10 in the UK for a huge number of subjects, and the top 5 for some of them as well. And I've mentioned that we're 181st in the world. So how are we actually divided up? Well, we are divided into 3 colleges: the College of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences, the College of Biomedical and Life Sciences, that's my college, and the College of Physical Sciences and Engineering, that's my colleague's Omer's college. And you can see there's quite a wide variety of schools that we have and subjects that we cover. We're currently looking to reorganize some of the schools to drive some efficiencies. But we have sort of normal science subjects, but we also have clinical science subjects, things like dentistry and medicine and nursing and optometry. So we cover a really wide range of activities across the colleges. So what I want to do now is take you through the research that's undertaken in quite a high level in the various colleges. And I'm going to start with the College of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences. And there's lots of things around digital cultures, digital economy, lots of interest in economics more generally. data-driven decision-making, sustainability and net zero. Our university declared a climate emergency many years ago, so there's a big interest in doing things around sustainability and reducing the amount of carbon that we use within the environment. Because we are in the capital city of Wales, we're also very close to the Welsh government. So Wales is a separate government. It's not completely devolved from the UK government, so we're still ruled by the UK as well as the Welsh government, but some things are devolved. And so there's lots of interest in research around governance and devolution. Also being in Wales, we have our own language, which is Welsh, obviously. The vast majority of our courses are actually taught in English, but we have research around the language and linguistics in terms of Welsh, but also in terms of Welsh culture. And we've got a very strong business school that's interested in banking and finance. There's also lots of research activities that have been brought together. Media Cymru is something that we have invested in quite heavily within the university, but we are actually now, there's lots and lots, not just within the university, but more widely in Cardiff, there's lots of different media entities coming together to work together. And in fact, we are now the third largest media cluster in the UK, third only to London and Manchester. And also the picture you can see in the background is something called Spark, which is what we like to always say is the world's first social sciences research centre. If I go to the next slide, you can see this is what Spark is all about. It's a big building. It's actually being built. When you come and visit us, we'll take you to see it. It's an amazing looking building, but lots and lots of space, 12,000 square meters worth of space. But this is all about bringing people together. It's all about bringing different entities across our university together. But it's not only that, it's about bringing external industry in, business in, so the two can co-locate. So that means that what we're doing academically, we can expose to industry, and they might help us then develop it and spin it out. But also industry can come in with their challenges, and they can help us, well, we can help them try and develop solutions for some of the problems that they're facing. And in terms of bringing people together, you can see in terms of Spark, there's things like the Wales Institute of Social and Economic Research. There's stuff around public health. There's stuff around crime and security. There's stuff around economics. There's stuff around mental health. There's making spaces. There's lots going on within this space. But even though I'm talking about this in respect of arts, humanities, and social sciences, what we've actually got in this space is people from across the university, from all different schools and from all different colleges. And that's the one thing that we've been pushing to do over the past couple of years, is really try to get people together from different disciplines, because that's when great science happens. So Spark, an amazing place. So please come and visit us and we can show you that space in due course. So how about the College of Biomedical and Life Sciences? That's my college. So there's 6 main areas. There's cancer. So cancer, from thinking about the fundamental basics of cancer biology, through to understanding mechanisms, and then thinking about drugs and trialing those in lab-based systems, but also in whole animal systems, but also taking this through all the way to clinical trials and eventually into the clinics. Because we have a very strong collaboration with a hospital in Wales, with a major hospital in Wales, Cardiff and Vale University Health Board. So we work with them to take things through into patients. Next is developmental and regenerative biology. That's where I'm actually based. And that's understanding development, understanding how cells develop, understand how tissues develop, understanding how organisms develop. So when they start to break down, we can start to repair them, or we can start to replace things. So that leads then into things like tissue engineering and regenerative medicine. There's immunology, infection and inflammation, a large grouping, once again, undertaking basic science, looking at some of the key mechanisms that are involved, but then translating those things through into clinics, into making things that actually will work in patients. And they do a lot of data analysis. They use a lot of data that they generate. So they pool that data with people all around the world to generate new research ideas. There's the mechanisms of living systems, which is it's a bit like looking at the entire, it's about One Health. It's looking at the planet and how little things that you change can influence everything else. So if the planet heats up, what does that mean? How's that going to affect our ability to grow things, of insects to prosper? So it's about how the whole ecosystem is interconnected. And then there's mind, brain, and neuroscience, and then there's population health. And I'll tell you about those two on the next two slides. So in terms of mind, brain, and neurosciences, there has been some world-leading research in genetics undertaken at Cardiff over the past probably 2 decades, looking at things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, anxiety, depression in children as well as adults. And what those have come up with are some potential markers and potential targets that have been explored through the neuroscience route, through the different model systems that we have. But luckily for us, what we have in Cardiff is something called the Cardiff University Brain Research Imaging Centre, which is called QBRIC. And this is a world-leading MRI centre. In fact, we've just put a grant in, and if that grant comes off and we have a fit out of some new equipment, it will be the best MRI centre in the entire world. So this enables us to look directly at animal systems, but also at patients. So if you've got an interest in doing any MRI, then please reach out to me, because we welcome people from all over the world into QBRIC. But to complete the circle, what we also have is something called the Medicines Discovery Institute. And what this institute is dedicated to is taking the findings that we get from the genetics and the testing and pushing them through into actual drugs that can be tested, drugs that we can go through into patients to make their lives better. And in fact, through the Medicines Discovery Institute, there's been quite a big investment in something called DRIGE. DRIGE is dragon in Welsh, DRIGE Pharmaceutics, and they are actually developing some of these neuroscience drugs now through into patients. Also, just a quick mention about population health. You can see a deprivation map. This is Wales here. You can see these spikes where there's deprivation. You might be familiar with the Cochrane reviews. So Archie Cochrane worked in Cardiff and did a lot of his work in and around South Wales. And so always got an interest in looking at sort of not just deprivation, but trends within Wales about what's happening. And so we've got a big interest in inequalities in health. Why do you live 20 miles away from somewhere else and there's a big deprivation versus other places? And that links into unhealthy behaviors, which is again linking into the aging population. As we get older, it's harder to maintain good health. And then it leads then into these multiple health problems. So there's a big interest in looking at population health, in trying to identify hotspots where if you can introduce some interventions, you can make a big change to the lives of people. So it's the College of Physical Sciences and Engineering, lots of interest in catalysis. I'll tell you a little bit more about that on the next slide. A huge amount of work around cybersecurity, computing, AI, and I'll mention that again in a minute. But other areas are things like looking at the design of future cities and buildings, how we can make them safer, how we can design them better, how we can make them more efficient. Safety, again, thinking about bridges and how you can design infrastructure that's safe and sound, is going to last for many, many years. I talked earlier on about the fact that we work across disciplines. Well, using maths to save lives is a great example of this, where our colleagues in the School of Mathematics are working with colleagues in the School of Medicine to look how patients can be transferred a lot more quickly, more effectively, both to hospital and within the hospital. And there's things around saving lives, safeguarding water, and also a big interest now in renewable systems, renewable energy. Obviously, as we transition away from sort of diesel and petrol more towards an electric society, it's how do we design those electric systems, those grid systems? Where should they go? Where should they not go? How can they be done? How can they be installed efficiently? So I mentioned catalysis, and we have in Cardiff the Cardiff Catalysis Institute. So not just interested in chemical catalysis, as you can see, biological catalysis here. And these are a world-leading group using gold catalysts to convert end-stage products from industry and converting them into something which can be used for other things, like taking something from industry can then be used in the agrochemical industry. So there's a huge amount of work. So you can see it's a very large group, 150 postdocs and PhDs all working on this to come up with solutions for how we can turn waste material into constructive material. And AI computing, just a huge amount that's going on. And notice this is of big interest in Kazakhstan at the moment. Well, big interest across the world, I guess, at the moment. Lots of things around natural language processing, machine learning, disrupted intelligence systems, but it's also about the applications as well. It's about using the computing power and the AI that we have to look at things like online hate crime. We can map that. We have something called the Hate Lab, which maps that and can inform governments as to exactly what's happening within their countries. And in terms of computer sciences, huge amount of work around vision, imaging, and again, working with our other schools, working with our schools, some colleagues in the School of Medicine, for example, to look at medical imaging. And then things like computational music, once again, working across those different schools. So that's the big theme for what we do within the university, is to work outside of our disciplines. And in that respect, what we've done is consciously brought people together, physically located them, and invested in facilities so that they can deliver the best research. So we have something called the Neurosciences and Mental Health University Innovation Institute. We've got the Security and Crime Intelligence Innovation Institute. I talked about net zero earlier on. We've got the Net Zero Innovation Institute. And things, data. Data is critical to all of these things. So we've also got a Digital Transformation Institute. So this is about co-locating people, investing in their facilities, investing in staff, so we can drive the best research possible. And these centers have really good, extensive international networks. So if you're interested in being part of those centers, then please just drop me a line. Now, I mentioned the other centers. I mentioned the Cardiff Catalysis Institute already. We also have the Institute for Compound Semiconductors. We're doing world-leading research around compound semiconductors, and we have amazing fabrication facilities right in the heart of the Cardiff University campus. But also more widely across South Wales, there's a bit of a compound semi cluster. So there's not just us, there's other universities. There's also little companies that are set up, some quite large companies have invested. So it is becoming a sort of a little cluster of activity, which is great. I've mentioned the Discovery and the Medicines Discovery Institute. Linking to the inflammation, we've got the Systems Immunity Research Institute, and I've also mentioned the creative industries as well. So if you're going to have world-class research, you need world-class facilities. And I just wanted to point out some that we have. Well, this is the Cardiff University Brain Research Imaging Unit, QBRIC, I said, which is the world-leading MRI center that we have. This is our Abacus building. This has, for the first time, brought maths and computer sciences together. So there's some great interactions now going on across there. This is the Spark building I've already mentioned. This is the Translational Research Hub, where the Cardiff Catalysis Institute and the Compound Semiconductors Center is based. And this here is our pretty new School of Journalism. Now, that's not on the campus. That's now smack bang in the heart of Cardiff, because BBC Wales relocated from the outskirts of Cardiff to the middle of Cardiff, the centre of Cardiff, and we've put our School of Journalism right next door to them. And you can understand why, because that drives the collaborations and that gives people opportunities from the university to go and work in BBC Wales. So what about Cardiff University, Kazakhstan? Well, my first slide. So this is a partnership between Cardiff University and the Qualified Centre of Education, who have been absolutely amazing partners, really helpful, really engaged in the process. It's the first time we've done anything like this as a university. There's obviously a changing international student sector within the UK at the moment in terms of higher education institutions. Less international students are coming. So we need to go out and we need to engage more with international students. And hence, this is our first branch campus, our first transnational education offering. And it's been a great experience to date. As was mentioned earlier on, we are running a 4-year program, essentially a year zero, a foundation year, which was what we're in at the moment. But we're offering computer science, civil engineering, exploration geology, and business management. And those full degree programs will start in September 2026, so later this year. And we didn't just choose these randomly, of course. We chose them because we, have expertise in Cardiff in these areas, But of course, we needed to align to the strategies and ambitions of Kazakhstan. So there's been lots of discussions about exactly what we should be providing. And I think we've got a really good suite of offerings. As I mentioned, was mentioned earlier on, this is the first overseas campus for us. It's the first and only Russell Group campus in Central Asia at the moment, but I've got a feeling there'll be lots of other Russell Group universities coming into this amazing region. We've got 316 students enrolled so far. In fact, on Thursday, we opened for admissions for academic year 26-27. So it'll be interesting to see how many students we end up with in September. All the teaching is delivered entirely in English. This is a Cardiff University degree. So it has to be delivered in English. We can, well, strictly speaking, we could also deliver it in Welsh, but that might be a bit more challenging for the students. But we do have compulsory modules in Kazakh language, Kazakh history, and philosophy. So they're also part of what we do. And it operates under the guidance of something called MEDA, which is the regulator that regulates us in Wales. And so there's full alignment with Cardiff University academic standards. So your Cardiff University Kazakhstan degree is as good as a Cardiff University degree because the standards they're held to are exactly the same. So I mentioned the programs, the undergraduate programs we've got running in 2025. So we are looking to see if we can get some further programs going for September 26, possibly something around economics, possibly something around maths, in terms of the BSc programs, and also some MSc programs, hopefully an AI and data science, and also hopefully an MBA. So we're just looking to see if we can get those into the system and advertised as soon as we can. So at the end of my talk, reflections, key opportunities. Well, we've come a long way in a short period of time. And I guess the opportunities were that we were obviously looking to develop some T&E activity, a branch campus somewhere. And it's clear that Kazakhstan as a country truly sees education as the way forward, as most enlightened nations should do, because if you educate your people, you make them obviously more intelligent and more able to contribute to the success of that country. So it's the attitude here, which is part of the opportunity and part of why we're here. You mentioned Minister Nurbak earlier on. He's been amazingly supportive, and having his support has been a key part of why we're here, and the support of the government is the key part of why we're here, because we really do feel as though we can do something amazing here. QCF have been fantastic, and if it wasn't for the opportunity of partnering with them, it would have been more challenging to set up a branch campus. Challenges wise, well, I guess we've come a long way in a very short period of time. So going from having nothing to starting a campus, finding a building, finding a property, refitting that building, advertising, recruiting students. So it has been a challenge, and there's been many colleagues from Cardiff that have been over here for many months and have really enjoyed themselves, but it has taken them away from their families in Cardiff, I guess. So I guess the speed of how we've done things have been quite a challenge. In terms of the student body, at the moment, they're all students from Kazakhstan, mostly local students. So our challenge going forward is to get out more widely across Kazakhstan to bring other students to us, but also attract international students. You heard from me earlier on how important international students are to not just the academic life in Cardiff, but the social life and the cultural life in Cardiff. So we want to encourage that here. So we'll be looking to use our agent systems and the systems we've got in Cardiff to make that happen. In terms of staffing, most of the professional services staff are from Kazakhstan. We have a few Cardiff University people out here, including myself, for example. But the teachers, we are flying over, so they're flying faculty. But what we really want to do as we go forward is employ local people to be involved with the teaching as well. So if you've got an interest in that area, once again, reach out to me because there may be some opportunities. So finally, in terms of a 5-year outlook, well, I guess the big things is about bringing the new programs online. That's something we really need to do. BSc master's programs. Eventually, it'd be lovely to be able to deliver PhD programs, linking to the wider research. So we want to think about student exchange, not just student exchange through to Cardiff, but bringing students from all over the world to Kazakhstan, and then also moving our students between Kazakhstani universities as well. as we're making more and more connections. That's really important. Research, as I said, is really important for us. So it'd be good to sort of embed that a bit more. But I guess the big thing for us to focus on, we have got a building, we have got a campus, but we're going to outgrow that very quickly. And so now our eyes are firmly set on the development of our new campus, which is going to be out near the big mosque. We've got the land that's been delineated. So now it's about trying to design the best structures, the best, not just academic structures, but the social and the sporting facilities, so we can give our students not just the best educational experience, but just the best university experience overall. So with that, I'll happily take any questions. These are just some pictures of Cardiff. If you come to Cardiff, you can run in a marathon if you want to. This is the big rugby stadium where you can go and watch rugby. And I was just talking about that, rugby between Wales and Japan. And if you wander around the campus, you might end up on a film set, because things like Sherlock and Doctor Who are often filmed across our university, because we've got such a variety of buildings. They make a really good film set. So with that, I'll stop sharing and I'll happily take any questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Professor Phil Stevens. Very wonderful presentation, the background about your profile, about your research background, about the Cardiff University in general. Very pleased to know about the research activities, about the colleges which you introduced, and also which was very important, the final part which you introduced, the Cardiff University in Kazakhstan. So first of all, let us give you a round of applause for your presentation. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And yes, and before we go to the second part, yes, first of all, I think we have some questions from the audience already, but let me start from some questions from my side. Well, first of all, I think that the climate is totally different in Wales and in Astana. So did you get accustomed to a new climate in Astana? Because the winter is snow?
Yeah, well, it is strange actually, because when I left Wales, it was quite cold, and in parts of the UK there was a bit of snow. But for us, what happens when we have a bit of snow, because we're not used to it in Wales and the UK, everything shuts down. No one can drive on the roads. The railways don't run. So it's very different here. So yeah, no, I have got used to here. It's, you've just got to I've got a really big thick coat so I can stay nice and warm. And it's nice. There's been some beautifully clear days here in Astana. So beautiful sunshine, nice and cold and crisp. So yeah, it's a bit different. We're in Wales, in Cardiff, we normally have rain rather than snow.
Right. Yes, well, the weather in Kazakhstan a little bit, well, it's like continental. It's sometimes cold in winter and hot in the summer. Well, I hope you could adapt to the new weather. But well, right. So let's go to the serious questions. Well, as you mentioned, actually the final 5 minutes was very informative. You tackled a very important points about the future development of the Kazakhstan Cardiff University. So I think the most important value for our students from Kazakhstan to the Cardiff University, that after the graduation, they would receive the same diploma as a Cardiff University, right? The equal.
Yep.
I think it's the most valuable point. Well, behind this diploma, I think should be study quality of the education, right? I think it's very challenging to have this far away, I think 5,000 kilometers away from the Cardiff, to support this high quality of education. So what are your main points? How are you trying to keep these high standards of quality of Cardiff University here in Astana in Kazakhstan?
Yeah. So it is about, it absolutely will be a Cardiff University Kazakhstan degree. So it will be the same. There will be the same qualities. It's about making sure we get all the governance right, making sure we have the oversight correctly delivered. We're working very, very carefully and very quickly with our registry in Cardiff to make sure all the necessary things are put in place. Because, as I said, we are regulated by MEDA in Wales. And so they will be looking to see exactly what we're doing in Kazakhstan. And we cannot let the quality of what we're doing dip at all. Otherwise, we will get picked up by our regulator. But before that, we've also got to report to our university executive board. We have to report to our council, which runs the university. So they are very keen that we make sure that the standards that we are holding our own degrees in Cardiff to are exactly the same as the ones we hold here in Astana.
Right, great. Yes, I'm sure. Well, it's a big task, but I'm sure it's possible because I think that Russell Group in general, they have already experience for offshore campuses, right? Well, you also mentioned about the in-flight faculties which come to Astana from Cardiff, right? So as for the first year, as its foundation year, I think it's maybe not so difficult to keep the number of the faculties. But also, as you mentioned, in future, you're planning to have some sort of balance between the in-flight faculties and maybe local faculties. So could you like share maybe just like approximate maybe proportion of like in-flight and local faculties you think in your mind?
Yeah, I guess we haven't nailed this down to an actual final percentage, but if we can get the quality of lecturing staff locally, then that's obviously what we'd like to do, not least because we don't want to be flying people back and forth all the time. But it might be different in different subject areas. And I think what we will start to do in Cardiff a lot more is, at the moment, if you're employed by Cardiff University, you work for Cardiff University, but we might start having slightly different contracts where people can also apply to work not just with Cardiff, but also with Cardiff University, Kazakhstan. So this is a process now that we're going to start engaging with over the next sort of 5 to 6 months to see if the lecturing staff are out there, because we just want to provide the best lecturing material, the best lecturers for our students, and the students will expect that from us. So once again, it's not about saying it's going to be 30%, it's going to be 40%. It just depends on who's out there. But we don't want it to be 100% flying faculty from Cardiff. We want to move to a situation where, there are people locally delivering that content.
Right. Yes. I think it's very good strategy because, well, it's also very good for Cardiff University to reduce fly-in faculties, but also good for Kazakhstan because they grow on like their own faculties in Kazakhstan, which also would be very good for local people. Right. So why I'm asking this question? Because this association, we have members which are working around the world, as Galamjan introduced, and we also consider maybe some of them thinking about coming back to Kazakhstan, maybe being involved in an educational area. So we also talked to our Minister of Higher Education, Sezat Nurbek, and he also mentioned that our association could be as a bridge to connect our overseas researchers and faculties with like new campuses in Kazakhstan. Maybe they could come back and maybe have a new stage in their maybe career to work in Kazakhstan. So do you have some sort of maybe prerequisites for future faculties, for example, besides the like English level, like IELTS like 6.5 and below and above and something? What else? Like their research background, their experience in a higher education, so on?
Yeah, I think it's having a mix of individuals. So we would like, obviously, we teach in English, so they will have to sort of educate in English. Research background is good because, as I said, what we do is Cardiff University is we boost our lectures in terms of adding research experiences. So that would be good, and also their experiences from where they are, because it's not just there's only one way to do this. We want people to bring their experiences of how they do things in the country that they might find themselves in, and their solutions for some things that we might be struggling with. So a research background, an openness to share and work with others, which is really important. But also for those individuals who may be coming back from around the world, who may be more senior, to then be able to mentor and support some more local, more junior researchers, because what we need is a pipeline of talent to come through. and we can train people internally, but it's the experience from their peers, which is so important. So it's really to be part of a team that's willing to share, willing to educate, and willing to support. So, if you said your organization might act as a bridge, which I think is a great idea, actually. And we'd really like to work with you on giving members here, but members who maybe aren't online, the opportunity to come and work with us and share their experience.
Thank you so much. Definitely, we would in future we would keep this conversation, and if some position will be open in the Kazakhstan Cardiff University, of course, we through our bridge, we would ask our members, well, to recruit them for some sort of interview in your university. Right. So I would ask the final question before we switch to the audience questions.
Okay.
Well, as you mentioned about the students' experience, right? So when students go to Cardiff, they live in UK, right? So they live in that environment and they become international students in, for example, in Cardiff. But now your campus is abroad and you have local students.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is a very interesting situation when university is trying to adapt, but local people, they feel themselves like at home, right? So probably there is some sort, maybe, how to say, maybe differences between expectations from the university, like British standards, and maybe there is some local educational background. Do you have some sort like issues currently?
Not really issues. To be honest with you, I've met the students obviously on many occasions, and they are absolutely amazing. They are so enthusiastic. They are so friendly. It's truly inspiring to have these students at Cardiff University, Kazakhstan. Of course, there's things that we might try to do from a Cardiff University perspective that can't happen here. There's different laws here, for example. There's different nuances. And, I've realized that, and we have to adapt things accordingly. But it's also about trying to give our students an experience of Cardiff as well. We're thinking of trying to put together a summer school. So some of the students can come over and experience Cardiff in the summer when it's hopefully not raining so much. But also as part of the final parts of their degree, we hope that there's going to be an opportunity for them to come and study in Cardiff. Ideally what I'd love in, I don't know, let's say 10 years, is that students can have the option to study whatever year they want, either in Kazakhstan or in Cardiff, and they can swap back and forth. I'd love that to be able to happen. It's not ready just yet. Let's see what the future brings. But yeah, there'll always be some little differences, but I think the students have embraced a new university really, really well. And it's such a pleasure to go into work and see them.
Yes, thank you for your feedback. I actually looked into the Instagram of the Kazakhstan Cardiff University, and I also was happy to see the amazed faces, so happy students. And well, campus is still maybe not so big, but I think the expectation are huge. And I could see from the explanation from the activity that actually they are so happy and they are so enthusiastic being a part of Cardiff University. So I think you started this very well. And I could feel through the SNS feedback from the Instagram.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good to hear. In fact, I think within 2 months, they'd started 31 societies, student societies. So they are really, really embracing being in a university. We're obviously supporting them. In fact, we have good support from Cardiff. The ex president of the student union is helping us develop some of those societies and the student voice. So it's a really exciting time for us.
Yes, great job. I understand you because I also, as a vice president, I'm also responsible for the students' life, extracurricular work. Right. Okay. So we still have about 5 minutes.
Okay.
So let's jump into our audience questions. So Galabjan, could you select?
Yeah, sure.
Two questions? Yeah.
Sure, thank you. So we have last 5 minutes. So Professor Stevens, thank you for your presentation. Really amazing. A lot of information. I think audience will find it very interesting. So our audience very span from other countries. So we're going very quick. I think this question is very good. Most of them related that you already explained within 5-year plan. So one question is, could you share how researchers and academics based in Kazakhstan can practically engage or collaborate with Cardiff University of Kazakhstan?
So I think the easiest way is to reach out to me, to be honest with you, because we do this. Said my colleague Omar is on the call as well. As international deans, we act as the coordination centers for people looking to reach out from other countries, or for our colleagues trying to reach out across the world. So rather than trying to send you off to a whole bunch of other individuals who you might, or they might be quite surprised to get an email, just drop me a line. You know, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to facilitate.
So guys, yeah, thank you very much. So guys, I already shared the contact information of Professor Stevens, and also Dr. Omer already shared information. Please go ahead and directly contact with your particular questions. Second question is, I think it's also most interesting. Also, you already answered partially. Question about postdoc and faculty track opportunities, Cardiff University, Kazakhstan. To whom contact and where to search vacancies? I think you already answered this question as well. And we have an interesting question from Baglan, who is joining from Cardiff University main campus. Please, Baglan, go ahead, show yourself, unmute yourself, and ask your question. I think he has some problems with connection, and his question, yeah, it's a future School of Law.
He's online now.
Yeah. I'm here. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed your presentation, Professor Stevens.
Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed your presentation. So I'm doing a PhD at Cardiff University, and my question is, so I'm doing PhD at School of Law and Politics. So and I'm in 3rd year. So I have a question. Is there any plans in the future to expand Cardiff University Kazakhstan into our School of Law and Politics? If there, I would really love to join and continue and share my knowledge with what I've learned at the main campus. So I'm still learning, so I'm in my 3rd year. So yeah, this was basically my main question. Unfortunately, so I've read, though, there were no like School of Law and Politics, most like business, most like related to science. Is there any plans in the future?
So obviously we're quite small at the moment. We've obviously just started, but our plan with the new campus is possibly to get up to about 10,000 students. So that means a much bigger infrastructure, much bigger setup than we have at the moment, which we will then start to have schools. I was talking to a university yesterday about their law school and our law school, working with them. So it is something which there's been a number of questions about here. So it's something that could potentially happen. I can't say for definite yet because we haven't designed the new campus. But to have individuals like yourself who have come to Cardiff, studied in Cardiff, and then to bring your knowledge back here to Kazakhstan to help us form these things, form these schools, would be absolutely amazing. So whilst I can't promise anything in the immediate future, in the longer term, I think things like this will probably happen. So please stay in touch with us.
Thank you, Baglan. Appreciate it. Joining from Cardiff main campus.
Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, there are like a lot of PhD students at Cardiff University, from School of Education, Engineering, and we're kind of very close to graduate, maybe within like a couple of years. And we were just basically wondering if there's any possibilities for us to join Cardiff University Kazakhstan.
Well, as I said, you know, we are expanding, and the degrees will start next year. So I'm back in Cardiff, normally 2 weeks here and 2 weeks in Cardiff. So if you could email me, reach out, and why don't we catch up? We'll have a coffee, and we can talk things through.
Yeah, no problem, sir. Yeah, I can bring all PhD students. So we have like a few PhD students at Cardiff University, and yeah, I can email you. So I've got your email, and would love to see you and have a meeting with you. So thank you so much.
Fantastic. We'll make that happen.
Thank you, Baglan, for your question.
It's already started our communication. Maybe a future member of the Cardiff University in Kazakhstan, right? Yes, good. Thank you, Baglan, for sharing. And just quick comment Professor Stevens, you mentioned, of course, you don't promise anything, but I just have heard the number. So is it like the maximum goal, like to have at least like 10,000 students for maybe? Of course, I understand it's not promising, but is it like one of the options, future options?
That would be lovely. I think the initial numbers were sort of about 5,000, but maybe we can get to 10,000. It all depends on how we can develop the campus. I think that's going to be interesting now to see what happens in terms of colleagues are going around the world looking at other campuses and how they're designed. So if we can do it, it would be great.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. Okay, Kalamjan, please go with the final question before we
Yeah,
close.
we're a little bit over time, so last quick 2 questions. So first one, it's pretty much similar questions about regarding future faculty. So do you plan to launch a full chemistry faculty in Kazakhstan campus?
Well, again, if there's the need for it here, that's something we will develop. It won't be within the next couple of years because we won't have enough students. But if it's going to be very much led by the local need. So we have the expertise to do it in Cardiff. But if it's needed here and it's wanted here, then that's something that we can look to develop.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is based on the needs. Yeah. And last question we had from Saudi Arabia. Oh, it's saying, can your university participate in Erasmus Mundus program? I know it's Brexit. Some universities are still eligible to take part in European Union programs.
Yeah, so we obviously can get access to all the EU funding, but we have heard right recently we are going back into Erasmus Plus program. So it's very exciting for us. We did have some UK funding and we had some specific Welsh funding to support student mobility, for example, but we'll be part of Erasmus Plus again soon. So we are very much looking forward to being back in that program.
Thank you very much for questions. So for